Well, we've got an early Christmas present. That's what I'm going to call it, at least. But the reason why I call it that is because I didn't pay anything for this item. This item was part of a trade, but it's Christmas Eve as I record this, so that's why I'm going to call it an early Christmas present. So let's go ahead and get it open. You may or may not have seen from my community post what this is, but this is what I said is in my community post. I think you guys will really like this one. Lots of bubble wrap. I always appreciate that. Shipping was a little long, so I'm kind of upset about that, but it's Christmas Eve, so at least it came before Christmas Day. iPhone 11 Pro, just a 64 gig, but this is an iPhone 11 Pro, still sealed, God knows how many years later. 5 or 6, I know that because, it came out in 2019. It's late 2025, and I have really no idea about anything about this phone, except for the fact that it's IMEI blocked, which, yeah, it sucks, but who cares? I'm actually so excited to unbox this because this is the old style of unboxing where it had the green, but it's just very nice unboxing experience. So let's go ahead and get all this crap away, and I'll get a screen protector out because I'm going to install one immediately, but I don't have a case. All right, so we got the screen protector out for installation, but we'll get to that in a minute. We got to get to the exciting part, but first, I'm just going to have a little yap session about the 11 Pro and what it means to me. I remember back in 2019 when this came out, sometime September, like most iPhones do. I remember going on my iPhone XR, which I still have, and going on the Apple homepage and seeing this phone, and honestly seeing how ugly it was when it came out because it had a completely different camera design than any other iPhone before it. Because for the longest time, they were like landscape, and then it was vertical, and then it was a box. And the memes of it looking like a stovetop were definitely hitting. Obviously, I was jealous of those who had this phone, and obviously it grew on me after a while, and I think it was one of the most solid design choices they had. This is mine now, and this is actually my first Pro iPhone that I'm keeping for the collection, at least for now. But I've had two before. I had a 12 Pro, which I used for about 2 months, almost 2 years ago now, but I had that. And then earlier this year, I actually had another 11 Pro, if you guys watched that video. I had a gold 11 Pro, which I restored from absolutely horrible condition to mint condition, and then I sold it for like almost 200 bucks, so I'm happy with that. Got it for free along with some others, but this is actually mine to keep. This one's on iOS 13. Unfortunately, I always updated all my iOS 13 phones to 15 because I actually wanted them for functionality, and then I stopped using them shortly after anyways because they're so old and I have better things. But this one is going to stay on iOS 13 like you guys would hope. That's enough for now. Without further ado, let's get ahead and dive right into this. 64 gigabyte space gray model. Again, blacklisted to someone. Couldn't tell you exactly who. I'll go ahead and get right into it. This green tab is a superior way of opening iPhones, and honestly, I'm so happy that I finally get to open this one. One more second. This was part of a trade with Apple Insight. I wanted a 12, which I got. Originally, I'd wanted a 12 Pro as well because that's the value of what we traded. After a little bit of thinking, I decided that it would be just as worth it if I got an 11 Pro and a regular 11 instead of the 12 Pro, especially considering some of the issues the 12 Pros have and the fact that I could get two relatively somewhat modern iPhones for the same value as one. And originally, he was going to get me what I call a Carfax iPhone, an iPhone with a broken screen, a broken back, or whatever that's been fixed. Why is that a Carfax iPhone? Because all the pop-ups and settings and the fact that the parts just aren't genuine. And I just can't live with the fact that it's been opened and repaired by someone before. So this will ease all my nerves, especially considering it's brand new. Again, that's enough for me. Let's go ahead and dive in. And it just slides right off. Slightly damaged corner, so that sucks. Here's the big reveal. Here it is. It's pretty heavy. Well, let's put that to the side. It's very cold, but you got your little pamphlet, hello booklet, SIM ejector tool, regulatory, and 2 Apple stickers because Apple used to care about us. But you got your headphones, not going to use. You got your USB-C to Lightning, which is always appreciated. I probably won't use because I have 100 of these lying around, but I'm definitely going to use it one day. And surprisingly, well, my favorite accessory, the 18-watt power adapter that they included in this box. Always appreciated, and I've actually been looking forward to having it. It's such a shame that they only included it for 1 year and the iPhones. And then, of course, they started caring about the environment. So, but I always say this, you guys are here for one reason only, and that is the peel. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, we got the screen protector on. Took a little bit of struggle, but we got it on. But since this phone's been sitting in a box for 5 or 6 years, most people try to power it up. I know it's not going to, so I'm going to connect it to a 20-watt charger, let it do its thing, and we'll come back once it's got enough charge set up. The 11 Pro just barely turned on. It's got about 8% of battery, so that's plenty enough to get it set up. Still have it connected to a 10-foot charger, so let's go ahead and begin. Yep, iOS 13. I'm going to do my Wi-Fi off camera because you guys may or may not know this because I haven't really talked about it in a while, but my long Wi-Fi password, so let's get into it. Horrendously long Wi-Fi password complete. Let's wait for it to activate. And it activated. All the values gone now. Passcode's in, Face ID set up. I'm going to set this up as a new iPhone. Obviously agree to the terms and conditions. You don't really have a choice. Express settings. I haven't seen this setting in a while. No. Manually. Apple Pay later. Siri. No, I never set up screen time. Ooh, this is fun. True tone display. And here we go. Oh, that's nice. Brand new iOS 13, iPhone 11. I'm going to play around with it for a little bit. Might download some apps or whatever. That's the unboxing at least. I'll be back soon. I'm actually not going to stray too far. I'm going to play with some settings. This is when the camera app got completely revamped only for the iPhone 11s on iOS 13. iPhone XR and above, they all got the update on iOS 14. This is exclusive to the iPhone 11s. But I also use a 16:9 aspect ratio just because I think it's superior. Front camera had somewhat of an ultra wide, but it's also on 13.2.2. I think it was originally tied to Sprint, but Sprint's gone. This matte back is sweet. These 3 cameras look pretty cool. Is this too close? I hope not. But I got a case and a screen protector onto this beautiful iPhone 11 Pro. I got a spec case purely for the nostalgia factor. I could have gotten one of those cheap JTech cases from Amazon. It would have been the same price. I could have probably gotten it a day earlier, but it really doesn't matter because I'm giving this phone for the long term anyways, and I wanted to get an actually good case. So I got spec. Mainly, like I said, from the nostalgia factor because this is a very common case used on this phone back then. And not to mention, it looks absolutely stunning, even though this is just under harsh lamp lighting. I still think it looks good. I put a live wallpaper on it, which is the correct live wallpaper that this phone uses. I don't normally use a live wallpaper, but this one looks nice. But here it is. Nice, splashy, wavy looking effect. I do kind of wish that 3D touch was on this phone because 3D touch with this would have been amazing, but they killed it with this phone. And also they killed 3D touch, even on 3D touch enabled phones, starting as early as iOS 13, I think, when they started giving this phone and the other iPhone 11 and all previous models haptic touch features, which resembled 3D touch but was not 3D touch. Anyone who's used 3D touch would know. But here's my app layout. Not very complicated. Yeah, I got Roblox on it, mainly for the nostalgia factor, even though this is the latest version, which is one, surprising, but two, this is just what it is. I used to play, back in the 2020 lockdown, Flickr, if any of you guys remember that. Comment down below if you've ever played Flickr, but I remember playing Flickr on my iPhone 6, but that's kind of besides the point. But I downloaded it on here mainly because this is the phone that was the best that you could get during the COVID lockdown, and I played a lot of Roblox on my phone during the COVID lockdown, even if my phone was just an iPhone 6. This was the best. Pinterest for wallpapers, social media stuff, doesn't work. No plans in using on here. Don't feel like signing in. This is the only one that does work. This is all the preloaded app stuff. I don't know how much I'll use this phone, but I am very grateful to have it. And for a minute, I'll touch back up on wallpapers. You got iOS 13 and 4 colors. You got blue, you got reddish orange, green, which was, I always thought was an interesting choice, but you also got black, which is kind of clean, not gonna lie. Got iOS 12, the apple stripes, the flowers they got rid of in iOS 14, the planets, and black. And the other color specific, I believe this is silver, green, space gray, graphite, midnight, whatever. the one that I have, and the gold one, which I had before. If you guys watched that video, comment down below as well. And the dynamic bubbles, which I guess they took away for some time after iOS 16, but they added it back. But this was always a fun wallpaper. I wish they would have done more wallpapers like this, because this was one of the only ones that was constantly actually moving and was always an exciting wallpaper. But besides the wallpapers, this is what I walked away with. Free iPhone 11 Pro. I didn't pay anything for this, just the accessories, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just wanted to touch up on something that is so old but was so modern really not too long ago, and I never thought I'd ever get one like this, but it's so cool to be able to flash back to iOS 13 and almost back to 2020, even though it's 2026. And I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but this phone was manufactured sometime in late 2019, before 2020. So at the time that I finished filming this, this phone is almost 7 years old, but it's just over 6. But that's still crazy. I'm just thankful it worked, but it still looks so clean. And also, we always take this camera up for granted now. That's just my 2 cents. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. If you want to see more retro unboxings like this, please let me know in the comments. Please just keep it up, and peace.